Hello everybody. In this video I will try to understand some interesting things about the 23rd nakshatra, that is Dhanishta nakshatra. So basically Dhanishta nakshatra ranges from 23 degree 20 minutes of Capricorn to 6 degree 40 minutes of Aquarius. So Dhanishta is a Mars nakshatra. See, any Mars nakshatra acts as a bridge between an earthy sign and an Aries sign. Here, Dhanishta is another Mars nakshatra. So, two padas of it are in Capricorn, final area, that is an earthy sign. And the other two padas are in the starting of the Aries sign, that is Aquarius. So, Dhanishta is the zenith or the peaks of this Martian energy, because if you observe, Dhanishta is the final Mars nakshatra, right? So it is represented in the sky by four stars. See, every nakshatra consists of some group of stars. Like if you observe the previous nakshatra, that is Shravana nakshatra, is a group of three stars. And if you observe other stars like, let us say, Ardra Nakshatra, or let us say Rohini Nakshatra. Rohini is a group of one single star, whereas Ardra is also a group of single star. And Hasta Nakshatra, of course, it's a group of five stars. Like that, every nakshatra, like Anuradha Nakshatra, is a group of three stars. So, similar to that, here Dhanishta Nakshatra is a group of four stars basically. So, if you observe in the modern astronomy, there is an area called Delphini, right? So, in that area, the Delphini, you can find this Dhanishta Nakshatra, and these four stars are arranged in a rhombus shape, basically. And our ancient Vedic seers observed this particular nakshatra or this particular group of four stars as a drum. So they identified it as a drum, and in modern astronomy they have given some names to it, but it is not at all important for us. And the brightest among these four stars has a visual magnitude of 3.63. So it's a significant brightness, enough brightness, because visual magnitude and brightness are inversely proportional. Of course, there are so many other stars which are very much brighter than Dhanishta, but of course, basically, there are so many stars in the sky, but the stars that are falling in the moon's path are the stars recognized by our ancient Vedic seers, and those stars or those nakshatras are impacting the life of humans on the earth. That's what the fundamental theory is. Now, so you can easily spot it in the night sky, especially if you're in a village area or a mountain top where there's no pollution, there's no light, enough light on the earth, and you can see the clear sky, then yes, you can easily recognize this Dhanishta nakshatra. So the main theme here, the main thing that we need to understand is our Vedic seers identified it as a kind of drum. The shape is a kind of drum, it resembles a drum. So Dhanishta translates to the wealthiest, the most beneficent, that is basically Dhanishta. So whenever you talk about Dhanishta nakshatra, you talk about money a lot, the wealth a lot. And you can clearly understand the basic energy of this particular nakshatra is the wealth. The most beneficent energy is Dhanishta. And there is an alternative name in the ancient days for this nakshatra, that is Dhanishta, that is Shravishta is another name. So the previous nakshatra is Shravana, it is Shravishta, right? It's something like Shravishta means the most heard of, the most famous. And you can clearly understand it's an extremely there are some extremely lucky qualities associated with this nakshatra. And Sravista, Dhanista, it's a kind of, you know, so that's what it's basically. The Sravista is basically forming a kind of pair with its previous nakshatra, that is Shravana nakshatra, right? And just like you say Mrigashira and Ardra, Purva Falguni and Uttara Falguni, right? And Purva Shadha and Uttara Shadha. Then you can say this is another pair like Shravana, Sravista, right? So generally all the Vedic astrologers agree on the fact that a musical drum is the main symbol of this particular nakshatra. When you talk about Dhanishta, you talk about the universal rhythm, the dance, and also the music. Any literature you see about Dhanishta, you will definitely find these things, that is dance and music. Dance and music. And the dance of Dhanishta is according to a kind of rhythm, a grace. And the dance is not only in the earthly plane, even in the universal plane. It's a universal rhythm. The whole universe follows some rhythm, that rhythm, that energy is Dhanishta basically. So the main symbolism is musical drum. However, there is a difference of opinion in regards to the type of musical drum. Some say this drum is a kind of tabla. Some people say it's a kind of mridanga. Whatever. But the drum is actually, in ancient Vedic literature, the drum associated with Dhanishta is Damaru. Damaru is Shiva's favorite drum. See, when you talk about Shravana Nakshatra, you always talk about Lord Vishnu, right? From the beginning till the end, you always talk about Vishnu when you talk about Shravana. Similarly, when you talk about Dhanishta Nakshatra, you always talk about Lord Shiva, right? So that is the thing. And the Damaru, it has what is Damaru? Just representing the nakshatra with Damaru. What kind of qualities they are attributing to this nakshatra? Our ancient Vedic seers. And the two things are music and hollowness. Why it is Damaru? Why not other kind of drums? Because they want to convey the meaning of this nakshatra, the energy of this nakshatra. It's music and hollowness. It's not just music. What is the music? Basically, it's not the music that you're listening on the earthly plane, but of course, it also means that it is more than that. Hollowness relates to receptivity to outer influences. There is some hollowness. When there is some hollowness, the area has some receptiveness, right? When a bowl is empty, yes, it is receptive. When a bowl is full, then yes, it cannot accommodate anything other than the thing that is already present in the bowl, right? Similarly, this particular Damaru is a hollow Damaru. It's a hollowness. It has hollowness, and it has the capacity of receptiveness, receptive to outer influences. So if you see this, as we discussed so many nakshatras by this time, and if you have listened to some of the videos at least, you can by this time you know how to interpret some of the things. Like when I'm talking about some energy, the energy would be operating, it can be in the lower levels or in the middle level or in the higher level, right? So in its highest expression, this particular receptivity allows the native to be an instrument of the universal mind without letting the ego interfere with the process. And this is the main sentence that can describe Dhanishta. So what is this one? Ego interfering with the process. Let us say, the receptivity of this particular nakshatra It allows the native to be an instrument of the universal mind without letting the ego interfere with the process. It's a beautiful thing. When ego interferes, what happens? You cannot listen to others, right? When you have a lot of ego, what would happen? You think that you are right, you know everything, kind of mentality you would have. Then what would happen? You may not be able to listen to the other person. But this nakshatra has the quality of receptivity. The quality of receptivity this nakshatra has, and even it can listen to the universal mind. I want to tell you why lot of Dhanishta people are very good with their dance. Their receptivity is good. You make other nakshatra people sit with Dhanishta, the music, their body, the Dhanishta people, the body of Dhanishta people that can listen to the music better than others, I can tell you. That's why they dance according to the music that is running on is more appropriate for the song. The dance has a lot of grace. Dhanishta is the dance and the music, right? Because the receptivity of Dhanishta is better than other beings. So this nakshatra follows Shravana nakshatra. It relates to the process where what we have listened to is synthesized. In Shravana Nakshatra, we talked about listening, right? Shravana is something like when a person has a significant planet in the Shravana Nakshatra, that person, would be more into the area of listening and understanding, processing it, and then again teaching it to somebody. This kind of process is present in Shravana, and that process is much more synthesized in Dhanishta Nakshatra. What is listened to is synthesized here. There, only teaching is done at Shravana level. So, this particular energy gives Dhanishta Nakshatra the ability to actually accomplish things like playing music, right? So, music and dance, the kind of synthesizing the things is very well established in Dhanishta energy. Generally speaking, Dhanishta people can become very good musicians, very good dancers, right? It's a fundamental energy of Dhanishta because their receptivity to the things is different from other nakshatras. So the synthesizing, once the things are they received the things, the kind of synthesizing they do is different from other nakshatras. So in its that is how Dhanishta acts in its in its highest level. So when Dhanishta energy is acting in its highest level, because other planetary positions are also helping the native here, so Dhanishta acts in its highest level, then what would happen? The receptivity is more. By that, the synthesizing capacity is more. So they can dance very well for the music they are listening to, or they can play music better than any other person, because the notes that they are processing in their mind is different. The process is different from other nakshatras. So Dhanishta people can be very good at playing music and also dancing. That is the expression of Dhanishta in its highest level. What would happen if it is acting in its lowest expression? In its lowest expression, this nakshatra is susceptible to receiving lower level influences. So, what would happen because of that? Because of that, its outer works are not as elevating as they are in its highest expression. So you can understand the Dhanishta energy. If a Dhanishta native is coming to you, then the first and foremost thing is the synthesizing capacity. right? Based on the receptiveness of the native, you can judge if this nakshatra for him is working in its lowest level or in its highest level. Receptivity is the key. If the person has a lot of receptivity, then yes, you can say the Dhanishta energy in his horoscope is working in its highest expression. But if his receptivity is lower, then you can clearly say his Dhanishta Nakshatra energy is working in his lowest level. If some planet is present in Dhanishta, I'm telling, right? So, what is a drum basically? Drum, Shiva, when you talk about Lord Shiva, you talk about drum. This drum is not just an instrument. It is a rhythmical instrument which can be associated with time, and time is the rhythm of the universe. Time is the rhythm of the universe. You know, Lord Shiva is called as Kala. Kala. Kala Bhairava. Kala means the time. Lord Shiva is in the time in the male form is associated with Kala, that is Kala Bhairava or Lord Shiva, and the same time in the female form is associated with Kali, you know, Ma Kali. So that is time. Kala, Kali, these are all related to time. You're you're praying the universe, the universal forces. You're actually praying in the form of Kala and Kali. And time is the rhythm of the universe. You got it? So what's the rhythm of the universe? That is time. So that rhythm of the universe, the timing of, so why Dhanishta, I'm telling you why Dhanishta people have a different ability, a very great ability about their music senses or playing music instruments and also dancing. Why they have some kind of great ability in that? Because the timing is different, the rhythm is different. And Dhanishta is about that rhythm, and time is the rhythm of the universe. So the drum is actually representing, it's a rhythmical instrument. So this is why this nakshatra is said to have immaculate timing. Dhanishta's timing is immaculate because it is in accordance with the universal functioning. Timing of Dhanishta is in accordance with the universal functioning. And there is another alternative symbol also for this. It's also, this hollowness, the rhythm. To represent that rhythm, we are using that musical instrument like flute is another symbolism. See, which again emphasizes the fact that music is produced through hollowness in much the same way as celestial music is created through the hollowness of the universal space. The whole universe is also a kind of musical instrument. It has a lot of space, and that space or that hollowness can produce the rhythm, right? Here we're talking in terms of energies. So if you want to understand this whole thing, the universe, so make it very, very smaller. That's drum. Take a drum. Damaru, basically, that is Shiva's Damaru. That Shiva's Damaru is actually representing the time concept of the universe, right? It has that rhythm, and Dhanishta energy is related to that. It has the timing. So Dhanishta people are a kind of, they are very, very graceful. Their bodily energies are very, very graceful because they are in coordination with the beautiful universal rhythm and also the timing, I would say, right? So Dhani, that is Dhanishta Nakshatra. So Dhanishta is, and when you talk about Dhanishta, when you talk about Shravana, you talk about Lord Vishnu. But of course, when you talk about Dhanishta, you talk about Lord Shiva. Before talking about Lord Shiva, we talk about the Astavasus, because Dhanishta is considered to be a kind of, it's the materialism, the whole universe. If you just say the universe, the hollowness, and that's it. But if you really think about this energy, the hollowness of the universe and all these things are able to manifest or make the material world consistent. So they are able to manifest the materialism very easily. That's the key here. That's why the Astavasus are the 8 gods of prosperity. So Dhanishta is presided over by a group of 8 gods called the Vasus. So Vasu means the super, the excellent, wealthy. Basically, Vasu, some people say Vasu means Sona, that is, Vasu means gold. Vasu means wealthy, right? And who are the Astavasus? The Astavasus are, the first one is Apa, second one is Dhruva, third one is Dhara, fourth one is Anila, fifth one is Soma, sixth one is Anala. See, Anila is different and Anala is different. So the fourth god Anila is different from the sixth god Anala, and of course the fifth one is Soma, as we said. Seventh one is Pratyusha. Eighth one is Prabhasa. Now see, the 8 gods, the Astavasus. Apa means, water. It's basically water. So this Apa we already discussed while we were trying to understand Purvashadha energy. So this Dhanishta has Purvashadha energy also, right? So the victorious energy, right? And we talked about Purvashadha people think they are victorious, but not completely victorious. That's where the story of we discussed Adolf Hitler's story. He was over ambitious about his goals and he thought he would be victorious, but that victory is somewhere limited. So they have to understand where it is actually limited, and they have to accept that, and better they maintain a kind of decency in their goals. They should not be unwholesome and over ambitious about their goals, right? That's one thing. And leave about this Purvashadha. If you want to see the Purvashadha, if you want to understand Purvashadha energy, just go through the Purvashadha videos that we discussed. Now Apa is here, right? Astavasus, one of the Astavasus. Dhruva, which is nothing but fixed, right? So Dhruva we talked about, while talking about, I think, Uttarashadha, we talked about Dhruva, right? And see, this is related to the pole star. So I just want to tell you that Dhanishta has more material manifestation capacity. And another one is Dhara, which is nothing but a stream of water. So it is related to the energy of Aquarius, basically, the whole energy of Aquarius. And Anila is the fourth god, which is nothing but wind. So that is Vayu. So when you talk about Swati Nakshatra, the full air, right? Swati, we talked about So when we try to understand Swati Nakshatra, we talked about uh, Vayu, that is Anila. And Soma means a Mrugashira Nakshatra deity, right? So the moon. So moon deity basically. Soma is there. And Anala is nothing but the fire. So it's another manifestation of Agni. So Agni is Kritika, and even Vishakha has Indra and Agni both as deities. So many qualities, so many good qualities of other nakshatras are embedded in Dhanishta nakshatra. See, there are some negative things about Dhanishta also. We will talk about that. So, um, especially related to marriage, we will talk about that. And now, the Soma, right, the Mrugashira energy, and Anala means the fire, which is nothing but the Kritika is the energy. It's a fiery energy basically. Anala means fire, that is Agni. Even Kritika and Vishakha, part of Vishakha's deity is Agni. And Pratyusha. Pratyusha is nothing but the dawn. He is the counterpart of Usha. So Usha is a solar goddess who rides in front of the sun, and Pratyusha is into dawn. So you know, so this is related to the sun related energy is also present, and Prabhasa is nothing but light. So Prabhasa is another solar deity related to the morning time. Now, the eight deities, all these eight deities carry within them the energies of different nakshatras. So this makes Dhanishta a sort of a compendium, or it's a kind of the amalgamation or the compendium of different nakshatra energies. So especially the Ashwini, Kritika, Mragashira, Swati and Purvashadha, these are all present here. The eight Vaisus are supposed to be wealthy and skilled at music as well. So Dhanishta, when you talk about Dhanishta, you talk about music and then dance. Music at first, and of course dance as second. So this particular energy conveys, the nakshatra's mastery over the material plane and relates it with the rhythmical, musical functioning of the universal mind. And so this is the reason why a lot of astrologers associated the signs of astrology with this nakshatra, which in a way is understanding the rhythm of the universe, right? So different signs they assigned, because it has a capacity to master over the material plane. All uh, the materialistic energies, they added up here, right? Ashwini, Kritika, Mrigashira, Swati, Purvashadha. Swati is, see how much materialistic. You see so many Swati people, they want a lot of money. They even so many movie stars, right? So Swati is very much business oriented. Swati Nakshatra, see all the money related nakshatras they added, the Ashwini, Kritika, Mrigashira, Swati, Purvashadha. Uh, of course, Ashwini is part of innocence, is also present, but at the same time, so it is starting the whole material world. Ashwini is the first nakshatra, so it also has a seed of that materialism. Now, so the eight Vasus are supposed to be wealthy, and they are very, very skilled at music. So one more important thing is it is related to the rhythmical musical functionings of the universal mind. And this is probably the reason why all the astrologers are associating so many other nakshatras, so many other sign energies with the Dhanishta Nakshatra energy. Now, Astavasus we talked about. Now, the another god which we talk a lot about when we discuss Dhanishta is Lord Shiva. See, Lord Shiva is the ultimate presiding deity of this nakshatra, no doubt. So, this you can easily understand from the fact that part of this nakshatra lies in Aquarius, a sign completely under the control of Lord Shiva. Aquarius is Lord Shiva, the sign Aquarius. So, when you talk about the sign Capricorn, you talk about Lord Vishnu. When you talk about the sign Aquarius, you talk about Lord Shiva. That's it. So, a part of this nakshatra, Dhanishta, is in the the last two padas are in the sign of Aquarius. So, we talk about Lord Shiva, and ancient Puranic scriptures are full of stories of Shiva's immense musical ability. So, Shiva, even while wreaking havoc and destruction, he does so, right? He in a graceful and rhythmical dance form known as Tandava. And that Tandava is exemplified by his famous Nataraja posture. So, in fact, two of the main Indian classical dance systems directly originated from Shiva. So, that's why when you talk about Dhanishta Nakshatra, you talk about music and dance. The dance is the dance, you see the dance of Lord Shiva, right? Tandava. That Tandava is associated with one and only this nakshatra, that is Dhanishta Nakshatra, because this nakshatra has the capacity of understanding the universal rhythm. The universal rhythm. In the universe, there is space. That space is not just existing, it has some rhythm. And because of that rhythm, the whole material world is existing. That rhythm is Dhanishta, that rhythm energy. See, how is that rhythm flowing all the time? It is flowing in such a way that the whole universal is existing continuously. That rhythm, that time and space, that relationship, that rhythm is flowing all over the universe, and that rhythm is associated with one and only Dhanishta Nakshatra, the graceful nakshatra. Passionate, basically, we need to say, because that rhythm has some passion in it, that rhythm has some strong energy in it, right? And that is Dhanishta Nakshatra. And see, the Tandava of Shiva, it has a lot of rhythm. Just observe the Nataraja posture of Shiva. That's enough. That is the universe. Even this is not in the universal level, this is in the atomic level. Whatever you're seeing in the atomic level, the same thing goes in the universal level. There's no difference at all. How the atoms behave, the energy of atoms, right? The same rhythm would be present in the universe, and that is the rhythm is shown by Lord Shiva's Tandava, right? So that is the dance of Lord Shiva, right? So that is the Nataraja posture. You can observe that in the Nataraja posture as well, right? That is one of the steps of one of the important steps of Lord Shiva's energy. So, in a way, this particular nakshatra can be seen as a bridge between Vishnu's and Shiva's energy, because two of its padas are in the sign of Capricorn, and two of its padas, the final two padas, are in the sign of Aquarius. So it can be related to kind of half Vishnu, half Shiva form, which can still be found in some temples in India, right? So Vishnu relates to its mastery of the material world, while Shiva relates to the musical aspect of this universe. And much of the nature of this nakshatra can be derived from the nature and qualities of the 8 gods presiding over it. From Apa, it derives the musical ability, confidence, invincibility, and warrior like disposition, which in its negative aspect can manifest as a kind of obstinacy or a kind of vanity. So this because of this, so when this apa energy is working in its positive level, it is going to give the person lot of confidence. So you need to understand your dhanista energy is working in higher functioning or lower functioning. If it is functioning in its lowest level, see, it has 8 gods associated with it. So you need to understand which god's energy is working highest level for you or lowest level. If it is working in its highest level, let's take the purva shadhas, that is apa's energy, that is embedded in dhanista energy, because this particular nakshatra represents the universal energy which is making the material manifestation possible. So because of this, the purvashadhas, apas, that energy, if it is working in a good level in your energy, in your dhanista placement, that is, if a planet is present in your dhanista, then if it is working in its highest level, yes, that can give you very good musical ability, confidence, and invincibility. Means you are always victorious, kind of. You have a warrior like disposition. But if it is working in its negative level, then you are something like you are always, you beat its own drum. You beat your own drum, kind of, right? So beating your own drum is the quality when this particular nakshatra is working in your lowest level. And the other deity is Dhruva Nakshatra, Dhruva, that is fixed nature. So, because what is this fixed nature? If somebody has fixed nature, you may there's two things, positive or negative. So, what is that? It if it is fixed, what is fixed nature? Because of fixed nature, it is related to, in positive level, it is related to reliability, perseverance, and good organizational ability. Capricorn sign has lot of organizational ability. So this Dhruva is very much associated with Uttarashadha energy. And that the positive energy of Uttarashadha, that is reliability, perseverance, and good organizational ability, can be seen in Dhanishta when this Dhruva energy is working in its highest functioning. When some negative, if it is working in negative level, it manifests as stubbornness, because you're so much fixed because of that malefic influence. So Dhanista natives do not like to be told what to do, because you're very stubborn. You don't like others, right, to tell you. If it is working in its negative level, I'm telling, if it is working in its positive level, the same energy would be acting as a reliable energy, perseverance. Also, it gives you good organizational ability, right? It's something like you have milk, and if you're adding, if you're adding some kind of, a protein powder or some kind of jaggery or something, then it is different. But when you're adding salt to milk, then it turns out to be something different. So you have Dhanista energy, and what kind of planet is present there, depending upon that, the energy would come out in your bodily expressions, in your the energy would be manifested in you. And I'm telling you, it is acting in its positive level or negative level. If it is, let us see, it has 8 elements in it. It has 8 energies associated with it, right? So the first energy is Apa energy, which is Purvashada's energy. That is, if it is working in its positive level, yes, that is going to give the native a very good musical ability, confidence, invincibility, and a kind of warrior-like disposition. But when it is working in its negative level, it would act as a vanity and abstinence, and also kind of beating your own drum. And the Dhruva energy, which is fixed, if someone is fixed on his opinion or something, you would rely that person more. So that gives reliability, kind of perseverance in that person and the native. And also he has a very good organizational ability because he is fixed in his thoughts. So he would organize the things very nicely because his thoughts are very fixed and ordered, right? And if some malefic energy is acting in Dhruva's energy, then it turns out to be stubbornness. And so if you observe a Dhanishta energy person, and if he doesn't like to be told what he has to do, then this Dhruva energy is working in its lowest level. And there is another energy in Dhanishta, that is Dhara. So dhara is stream of water. So if this is working in its positive level, then yes, it is going to manifest as wisdom, charitable nature, and conversational ability, because it is dhara, it is stream of water. So the stream of water is manifested as conversational ability. And also wisdom is nothing but the flow of thoughts, how they are connecting each other. So that ultimately results into a very good wisdom, right? And charitable nature, right? So this is how it is manifested as. And if it is working in its negative level, then the person would be a kind of chatterbox. The stream of water has no goal at all. So it's a kind of chatterbox you would see, and also having a tendency to disperse their energies in unconstructive and unwholesome ways. The stream of water is kind of dispersed. It's a kind of unconstructive, basically. The energy would go unconstructive. So if you observe a Dhanishta energy person, if he has very good wisdom, he's charitable, and also his conversational ability, if he has, then you can say his part of Dhara energy is working very nicely in his energies. And the fourth one is Anila, which is nothing but, which is the Anila is associated with, as we discussed, this particular energy is basically the wind energy, the Vayu, the Swati Nakshatra's energy. So this nakshatra, the Vayu plays a very vital role every day in your life. You're breathing, right? The breathing, the air flow in your body is making you alive. So that Anila, this nakshatra derives its business acumen, resourcefulness, and motivation to accomplish things. That is the Vayu nature. The airy nature is responsible for this. When a person has a airy nature, very ordered, very synthesized, very nicely synthesized, and the person has very good business acumen, and he has a lot of resourcefulness and motivation to accomplish things, right? Because Swati is about business only, and this Vayu is Swati only. And Anila, when you talk about Anila, you talk about Swati energy. So this Swati energy is also added up in Dhanishta. So if it is working in its negative aspect, what would happen? So this can make one self-seeking or generally worried about their prospects. It's something like a negative businessman, right? So you can find a negative businessman when a malefic planet is sitting in the Dhanishta nakshatra, much similar to a malefic planet sitting in Swati nakshatra, right? This is one of the qualities of this nakshatra. and another energy, right? So Anila and then Soma energy, right? So if you talk about Soma, when it is working in its positive level, it would be very soft, it would be very, very, jovial and all the stuff. But when the Soma is very soft energy, it's moon's energy. When it is working in its negative level, you would see the person would be worried about all the things every time, because his mind would be running after so many negative thoughts. So when a malefic planet is sitting in Dhanishta and this Soma energy is disturbed, the person would be, very much worried, because Soma represents the gentleness, sensitiveness. So if it is working in its in positive level, it's very good. But if it is working in its negative level, the Soma energy negative level is something like the native's thoughts are a kind of worried, and also he's fickle minded. He would become fickle minded, he would be deceptive in nature, because the thoughts are changing, right? And also extreme indulgence also you can observe. So that is about Soma's positive and negative influence. What if other energy, that is Anala, the fiery energy, if it is working in its positive level, is fiery energy with fire, what you can do, you are eating and you are living because of the fire energy only. Inside your uh, stomach you have fire, that is manifesting as hunger, right? And with the same fire, you're you're getting food and you're eating. Even the fire outside, because of the sun only you're actually getting all the fruits and vegetables. That's also fire. Fire manifested as food, fire manifested as your hunger, and the same fire is preparing food for you, and the same fire is consuming the whole thing. And so it is starting from fire, ending with fire. So fire is very important. So Anala, it is deriving its energy, a mental acumen and discrimination. And so the discriminating capacity, positive, negative, what is positive and what is negative, the mental acumen, that is Anala's energy. So the Dhanista person, if this Anala energy is working in its positive level, the person would have a very good discrimination, a very good mental acumen. And when it is working in its negative aspect, it can make this nakshatra bad tempered and consequently capable of hurting others. So when a Dhanista person is hurting others too much, then you understand his Anala energy is really bad. Alright. So the Anala energy, if it is working in its negative aspect, can make this nakshatra bad tempered. When a Dhanista energy person has some bad temper, then yes, his Anala energy is disturbed. And that is another one is Pratyusha. It is actually derives the Dhanista energy derives Dhanista people. If you see some of the Dhanista people, they are extremely beautiful, right? So the radiance, the happiness, joy, hopefulness, this is all Pratyusha. So nature expresses unbounded joyfulness through sunrise, Pratyusha, which this nakshatra usually tries to accomplish through music and dancing. So that joyful, so when sun rises, how you feel, how the whole nature feels, is very, very happy. It's joy. See the joy of the birds when the sun rises. It's hopefulness basically. From the dark, it is completely eliminating the dark. The sun rising is eliminating the dark. So when that darkness is eliminated, just imagine when something is able to eliminate all the darkness. Wow, what a beautiful thing, right? So the happiness, joy, and hopefulness, right? That is Pratyusha. So you can see how, if some malefic planet is sitting here, the happiness and joy, hopefulness are a bit disturbed. The radiance of the horoscope would also be disturbed. And Prabhasa is actually the light, or you can say the light-heartedness. So it is also representing purity, good nature, and wholesome aspirations. So when this Prabhasa energy is disturbed, Dhanista people can become very bad, or they're a bit impure. But if Prabhasa energy is good, yes, they're very light-hearted, they're very pure, they're good natured. So here you can clearly see that Dhanista is all about living a very good life. So you can clearly understand it is not easy to put Dhanista personality in a particular box, but it is related to materialism, manifestation of materiality, and it has many diverse aspects to its nature, making it one of the most expressive among the nakshatras. And Dhanista has a lot of positive qualities which are required for the material manifestation. It has an ability to adapt itself to any situation in which it finds itself. It is treated as one of the very, very good nakshatras. Of course, there are some negative qualities associated with Dhanista. I'll talk about that later. And those who have this Dhanista energy, you know, they may have all the qualities or some of the qualities depending upon the planetary positions. And Dhanista people are generally treated as very good conversationalists. So Dhanista natives can always put the other person at ease very quickly. So this will hold more true of those natives who are born under the Aquarius part of this particular nakshatra. So the Aquarius part of Dhanista people, that is Dhanista 3-4 people, they are very good conversationalists. A conversationalist is not the person who always speaks, but a conversationalist can put the other person at ease to to speak something, you know, put the other person at ease very quickly. That is the quality of a good conversationalist. And Dhanista people, especially Dhanista 3-4 people, are very good conversationalists. And this will hold more true of those natives, you know, as we discussed, the Dhanista 3-4 people are very good conversationalists. So, a Capricorn part has a more worldly orientation. So, they lack these more refined qualities of Dhanista, but more better Dhanista you would see in Aquarius part if you talk about the conversation part, right? And all those who have Dhanista energy in their chart, one way or the other, have a good sense of rhythm and enjoy music and dance. When you talk about Dhanista, you have to talk about music and dance. Music and dance. So it is very easy for them to excel in these fields if they work at it. That is the main theme, right? So Dhanista natives tend to be good at sports also because they have that rhythm and timing, right? Because rhythm and timing, they are the inherent things for any sport. So basically, this particular sports thing, it's very much true for uh, track and field athletics, ball games, and gymnastics. So they're good at sports basically. Wherever the timing and rhythm is required, there this Dhanista people can excel. And natives are especially good at sports like gymnastics, right? So when you see gymnastics, you're actually observing the Dhanista energy, the grace. You know, in gymnastics, you observe the grace, right? That grace in the earthly plane, you're seeing in the form of those gymnastics, but the same grace is present in the universal level also. That grace is making the material manifestation very easy. And one more important thing is this is a social nakshatra and it likes to be part of groups. It is not a loner and likes to, you know, it's not a loner nakshatra. It likes to mingle with people. So it's naturally ambitious and is always conscious of its dharma. It very rarely shows escapist tendencies. It would try to mingle with people. It would try to finish the task. It's treated as a good nakshatra. It would even try to confront things which can make it appear argumentative at times, but it can confront, it has the courage to confront the things, and it is ambitious, right? So it does not have, dharma means the duty that they have to do. That's what I'm talking about. So they do not have that escapist mentality. They want to finish the task, they want to finish their duty, right? So, and when moon occupies this particular nakshatra, the person concerned often, goes for mates or partners who are very different in personality and outlook to them. And this obviously leads to a lot of conflict in these issues, right? So when you talk about Dhanishta, you have a separate part talking about this meeting the partners, this kind of energy. They like to have some kind of relationship with this with the people that have a very different in personality and outlook, right? When they So that kind of people, this Dhanishta energy, uh, persons may like, especially when moon occupies Dhanishta. So this can be seen to be most true when moon occupies the Capricorn part of this nakshatra compared to Aquarius. The Capricorn moon Dhanishta people they like to have some relationship with the people that are uh, very different in personality and outlook to them. And a lot of astrologers are you know there is one important thing, the peculiar property of this nakshatra in promoting marital discord. And so when you talk about Dhanishta, you talk about this marital discord. So because this nakshatra carries so many good qualities, that you know this particular marital discord, you may feel it a bit. So everything, it is able to manifest so many things, and it is a very positive nakshatra. And how come this marital discord is actually, uh, that energy is present? You may get surprised, but that is the main thing. As per the history, if you observe, Dhanishta energy is responsible for marital discord. So the Martian aspect, basically, if you analyze, it's a Mars nakshatra, right? So the Martian aspect of this nakshatra is responsible for this problem, you can say, if you analyze, right? Because Mars is regarded as the most unfavorable planet for marital harmony. So once again, because the Mars is anger, Mars is your energy, which is manifested as your anger. Of course, that is also manifested as sexual passion. That is a different thing. But Mars, the anger, when in marriage relationship, if there is a part of anger, that's going to disturb the marriage life a lot. And for any reason, Mars is regarded as the most unfavorable planet for marital harmony. So the Capricorn part of this nakshatra has more problems in this regard as compared to the Aquarius part. The Capricorn part of Dhanishta has more marital discord problem compared to the Aquarius part. So this is simply because, see, Aquarius has a more accommodating nature as compared to the Capricorn. So these marital difficulties are usually enhanced when either Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu are placed in this nakshatra, especially in the Capricorn part, right? So malefic planets, basically Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, these are natural malefics. So when they sit in the Capricorn part of Dhanishta, that particular native can face a lot of marital problems. So, whenever you talk about Dhanishta Nakshatra, you talk about this marital discord, right? Disturbances in marital harmony. This is very much true for this Capricorn part, that is Dhanishta 1 2 Padas. If some malefic planet is sitting here, like Rahu, Mars, Ketu, Saturn, right? And especially this particular area, that is Dhanishta 1 2 energies, this area is connected with the seventh house in the horoscope. Yes, that is the problematic area. So, if this particular placement of Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Mars in this area, Rahu or Saturn or Ketu or Mars is present in Dhanishta 1 2, that can bring marital discord if it is connected to the seventh house, right? So, why we are saying all this? By observing a very, you know, um, one of the, you know, uh, something like Lord Rama's horoscope, by seeing that one of the avatars of Vishnu, right? Rama is one of the avatars of Vishnu. So by seeing that, see this Capricorn area, if it has to be in the seventh house, then it must be Cancer ascendant. When so Cancer ascendant means when the Cancer is first house, then Capricorn becomes seventh house. So for Cancer ascendant people, if Mars or Ketu or Rahu or Saturn is present in Dhanishta 1 2 Padas, that is the Capricorn area 16 degree 40 minutes to 30 degree area, that would disturb the married life of the person. So if this placement has, so if that this particular placement, the Cancer ascendant, the seventh house, this planetary combination, the position, it might be impossible for such a person to have a smooth married life. So most Cancer ascendants whose ascendant falls within 16 degree 40 minutes to 30 degree have difficulty in married life, or sometimes don't marry at all. This is because Dhanishta falls on the seventh house or seventh cusp area. This under the strong negative influence of this Capricorn part of Dhanishta often end up hating the opposite sex as well. If this area is filled with some malefic energy like Rahu or Mars or Saturn or Ketu, that is the negative thing that we talk whenever we talk about Dhanishta. See, Rama, one of Vishnu's avatars, who is regarded as the epitome of good conduct and righteousness, faced numerous problems in his married life. See, in his chart, Mars is placed in the Capricorn part of Dhanishta in the seventh house. He had to fight a big war to rescue his kidnapped wife Sita, and even after things resumed to normal, he had to abandon her on some some, you know, in different circumstances. So that is what the Vedic epic Ramayana. Lord Sri Ram is the epitome of good conduct. He is the epitome of righteousness, and the great Lord in all the incarnations of Vishnu, Rama stood as a great personality for the humans to follow dharma, a king who followed dharma till the end of life. He sacrificed the most loving things of his life to follow dharma, right? So there is no single negative mark in Rama's life. Such a righteous personality. So he also faced problems because of this particular planetary position. Other than that, Rama's life is something like he is He's God, right? So Dhanishta always has the ability to tune into some source also. So this is the so the marital harmony is the disturbance in the marital harmony is the only negative thing here. And if we continue talking about Dhanishta always has the ability to tune into some source. So the most important aspect of this is the source it tunes itself into. Because dancing and music is these things are nothing but rhythms, right? The rhythmic ability of Dhanishta. So they have the very, very good ability to tune into some source, but to which source they are tuning into. So in the present day world where media acts as the primary influence for the masses, for the people, and provides them with ever declining and degenerating standards of culture, music, dance, fine arts, etc., just imagine most Dhanista kinds find themselves tuning into these unwholesome influences. The kind of art practices they have is kind of, they are not the music. Of course there's a classical music and also classical dance, these influences are there, but even if some negative influence is in the Dhanista energy, then just imagine how they would get attracted to all these negative practices of the modern art. Now, this is the reason why the higher expressions of this nakshatra, which come out, which you can see coming about by direct tuning in with the universal mind, are a rare personalities in these days. If it is not Kali Yuga, if it is some Satya Yuga or Krita Yuga, then just imagine this energy would be manifested as graceful dancers, graceful musicians, right? So, in the universal scheme of things, this nakshatra has the power to give fame and abundance. And this is one of the best nakshatras if it is working in its higher functionings. Dhanishta can be seen as the zenith or the peaks of worldly achievements, a characteristic often attached with the sign Capricorn. Capricorn is always about worldly achievements. See, Capricorn, that is Dhanishta 1-2 people, of course, they can achieve so many great things in their life. The marriage thing, they have to take care, right? But of course, if their seventh lord is somewhere good, previously I talked about the Cancer resonant people who have this seventh house energy filled with the 4 malefic planets, right? So the Capricorn, if you only have that moon in Capricorn 1-2 and your seventh lord is somewhere very good, then yes, you would have a very beautiful marriage life, right? So this Dhanishta is the peaks of worldly achievements, and it goes without saying that only when these worldly achievements are in tune with the universal requirements, they have some meaning. Otherwise, if their worldly achievements are only for their own family, their own purposes, then the use of this Dhanishta energy would be limited in the universal plane. So, the better thing is, if this particular Dhanishta energy people, they have some, if they are, at least they are concerned about the people around them and also the society around them, then that is the most beautiful beautiful thing. This is about Dhanishta. We'll talk much about this nakshatra, some more interesting things we'll talk about in future about this nakshatra in our future videos. Thanks for watching this video.